Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my The Last of Us Part 2 Grounded Difficulty walkthrough, and this is actually Seattle Day 1 with Abby this time, and this video is part 1 out of 2. Because halfway through the game, at the end of Ellie's third day in Seattle, we switch perspectives and we get to play as Abby, who started out as the antagonist of this game, but now she is, as I think I mentioned in my first video, the secondary protagonist of the game, and now we're gonna see what she has been up to during Ellie's journey up to the end of day 3. And as you can see, the first encounter here is quite intense, but also quite easy. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can try doing this without taking any damage at all. I would say that that is more or less impossible. But during these more or less rail shooter moments of the game, it feels like the enemy's damage output is extremely nerfed. Even though I'm playing this on grounded, or I was playing this on grounded, you don't take very much damage, and I did this on my first try, and I feel confident that you will as well. And when you get to the end of that chase sequence, we come down here, and of course we're gonna end this encounter by closing a door. And Abby, if you don't know, she is part of the Wolf faction, the WLF, which I think is short for Washington Liberation Front, which is a paramilitary group. So she is a bit more of a commando soldier than Ellie is. And she also has quite a different arsenal from Ellie, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that very soon. First, we're gonna kill 3 infecteds. The first one is standing over here, being passive, so we just go up and choke her out. As you can see, Abby's stealth kill is the same as Joel's was in the first game. And then you just want to wait around here for the second runner to come walking up to the armpit of death. I almost said, but Abby's death embrace, or whatever you want to call it. And now there's just one left, and that is a passive runner that is standing over here in this corridor. You see him right there. So we just sneak up, and just like with Ellie, infecteds do not react to your flashlight, so feel free to keep that on. And now I'm gonna copy a strategy, because you go through a little climbing puzzle in this warehouse, and when we end up on the other side, because this shelf falls over, a lot of enemies gonna show up, and we are just gonna copy the strategy I used in the subterranean garage in the courthouse. You know, where we let Dina do all the grunt work, more or less. Because Abby brings along 2 friends. It's Owen and I can't remember what the woman is called. Let's just refer to her as Pregosaurus. Because she is very pregnant, and I am super impressed that she actually goes out on these missions while being in that state. But either way, in this fight, the absolute easiest way I did this first attempt is just run around this room. There is a shambler, there are some clickers, and there is a bunch of runners showing up here. But as long as you play this somewhat smartly, you're gonna have to improvise this. I did. But try to always keep an eye on the enemies and don't run constantly, because I talked about that there is a stamina cap, or a stamina penalty actually, is a more correct description of it. Because if you run at full speed at all times, Abby will slow down a little bit, because her lungs aren't much better than Ellie's. But Ellie and Abby, what's different when you're playing Abby instead of Ellie? Well, you saw that Abby's stealth kill differs. She chokes out enemies instead. instead of stabbing them, like Ellie does. Which means, while you're playing as Abby, you will not be able to stealth kill clickers, unless you create a shiv. I didn't do that because I think you actually have to upgrade her to create the shiv. So I think you have to find a manual so you can do the upgrade, which I think is a tall order, but you will not face off against many clickers while you're playing as Abby, which is a good thing. And the ones we will face off against will either be fully aggroed and trying to kill you, or we will just sneak past them. And there you also saw the Shambler's AoE attack. But all I'm doing here is running around. Whenever I get to a corner and the enemies aren't too close, I like to stay and just check my surroundings, cover all angles, and if they start turning their attention towards you, just take off running once again. And this is not the fastest way of doing this. Just like the garage, it's not the fastest way of doing that either. But it saves your resources. And that is essential when you're playing on this difficulty. This walkthrough is based a lot around stealth, but you never know when your bullets will come in handy. And I would say that Abby's part of the story is a bit more action-packed than Ellie's is. And her arsenal also differs a bit. You don't have the sniper rifle while you're playing as Abby, instead you have an assault rifle. I think the damage output is basically the same of those two rifles, but I think I enjoyed the I think the assault rifle is a lot better. Because instead of being a bolt action rifle, it actually has a clip, so the times you have to use it, the reload animation is a lot quicker. And Abby also doesn't have, I don't think she has trap mines, and she doesn't have Molotovs. Instead, she has grenades. And they are gonna come in handy throughout our journey through Seattle. But I think that was the end of the fight. And also a new addition to your arsenal, or one of a few more additions, is that you will get a hunter's pistol, I think it's called. Which is also a beast of a weapon. It has a lovely damage output. Which we are gonna put to use some few times throughout this part of the game. But now I'm gonna focus a little bit on this because this is quite sensitive. You can see I'm crouching and I will not start crawling until I go out past this train cart. You wanna wait for that second woman to move behind the train car. And don't start crawling before you have moved out past the corner, because this guy over there, you see to the right, just on the left side of that tree. Every time I started crawling before I had gone past the corner of the train cart, even though it was just like a 2-second difference, he would be much further up. When I got to, you know, the point where I saw him, where he was by the tree, every time when I crawled, he would be looking under that flatbed and putting his eyes up. So make sure you start crouching and then start crawling when you move past the corner. And here I make a mistake. And just like always, whenever I make mistakes, I tell you about them so you don't repeat them, hopefully. Because over there are 2 enemies walking back and forth, and up on that red train car that you could just see the corner of, there is a sniper up on the roof of that thing. And I was so focused on these 2, so I forgot about the sniper. So I move over here, I start crawling. Did check the sniper a little bit, but I don't know, I suffered a brain fart. So I start moving out, and the sniper sees me. If that happens to you and you have gotten up to this point, immediately immediately move over here and heal up if you have taken any damage. Because they will most times lose track of you, and now we're almost at the exit. So if they lose track of you or they try to move around, just bolt over here. Be quick, go up here and head for this giant gate. And you are free of this encounter and you reach a checkpoint. And going in here, we are going to be attacked by the Seraphites once again. So immediately run in to this little shop and lie flat on the ground. There are some chocolate bars here you can eat for instant health, and there are 2 enemies you're going to have to kill. If you're lying behind this counter, you are completely safe from the enemies over to the left. But here is one, so we just shoot her in the face, and I'm gonna kill another one coming in on the roof. And those enemies over on the left side, the Seraphites over there, will not move up. But even though they don't move up, look now. I am completely hidden, and yet I take damage. And I'm not quite sure who hit me, because you see, my entire body is covered behind the counter. But since there are protein bars or snacks or whatever it is, you get time to heal up. And after you've taken out 2 enemies, your friend in the Wolf Brigade come up and save the day. And this is a bit further on. When you try to crawl through a hole in the wall, this clicker is gonna come out and chase you. Just shoot him, her, it in the face once and run up and kill it immediately. If you shoot the clicker in the head with a pistol, they will not die from the first shot unless you have upgraded the pistol, or if you're using the hunter pistol. But they will be staggered, which will allow you to immediately go in and do a close encounter kill or a melee hit, which will kill them. And quite quickly after that, you will be in this little, I think it's an old hotel or something. And this is one of those lovely stealth sections once again. As soon as that runner starts pathing away, we go out and we kill this one. It feels a bit nostalgic almost. Seeing her stealth kill animation reminds me so much of The Last of Us 1. Because I think in that walkthrough people saw that a lot, because I utilized a lot of stealth kills in that guide. But either way, this is not the time to reminisce. This is time to get things done. And this runner walks around in a circle, so we just wait for him to start moving away. And we're gonna sneak up behind him. Don't be too quick, because there is a runner over there. And over by the exit from this building, there is a clicker that is in a passive state. So the final runner that is over there, way over there by the edge of the counter, we want to wait for him to start moving over in our direction, and he will go over to the right and we can go in for the kill. And you don't want to kill him too close to the clicker, because then you will run the risk of the clicker hearing you and things will become a lot less pleasant than they are right now. And in this video I will also show you how to pick up a collectible that relates directly to a trophy, an Easter egg related to the Jak and Daxter games. And the first game in that series, the Precursor Legacy, because in that game you had to pick up golden eggs. And there is an egg in this chapter, and I will show you how to get it. And in this chapter we will also, or in this video, we will also find the first holster for Abby. And that is towards the end of the video, so make sure you look or that you watch the entire video. And in here I was just going through to see if I could find anything useful. And when you're playing as Abby, the same rules apply as with Ellie. Loot through everything, because resources are just as scarce during her part of the game as they were in Ellie's, and they are also just as essential overall. But now, since we are close to the clicker, I decide to crawl. That is a good thing about Abby, at least, that she can also crawl. If you want to play this extra safely, you saw a bottle over there to the right, so if you really don't want to risk getting detected, throw your bottle you have in your inventory or brick, whatever you have, over to the right, let him run away on a goose chase, and just sneak out the door and pick up a new bottle. And this is just after. I did a little transition because I looted through these buildings as best I could. I checked through this little diner. And when you head up on the second floor here, there are going to be 2 clickers. So you want to be super sneaky. We are going to crawl in to the next room through a hole in the wall. And make sure you continue crawling when you get in here. We're going to head immediately for the exit. I don't know if there's any loot in here. I don't think there is. So when you get in here, there's one moving away, and I think there's another one standing just passively. But we immediately go to the left, and we will not disturb them at all. They may notice you, since you have to stand up to be able to jump over this gap. But that shouldn't be a problem. We just run for the edge and jump over. And they go completely apeshit, but they will not follow you over. And when you get in here, move around this wall. Just on the other side of this wall is where you will find the golden egg. Lying here on this little table. There we have it. And you will get a trophy for it. I can't remember what that's called either. Either way. And now, before you head downstairs, or down to the ground floor, you want to make sure to go into this building. Because down on the ground floor, we are going to find Abby's shotgun. And her shotgun is a little bit different than Ellie's. Because Ellie had a pump action shotgun, which could take 4 shells in the clip. And Abby gets a double barrel. So you only have 2 shells, but it still packs just as a brutal punch. Is that a correct sentence? Not quite sure. But the damage output is just as brutal as Ellie's is. And prepare a brick or a bottle before you go down here, because this guy will immediately come running out of that bathroom. And he actually killed me once because I had forgotten about his infected ass. And now, before you do anything else, make sure to pick up this brick, and I would recommend you open that door and go into this little back office, because when you pick up this shotgun, you will trigger another runner to come in. And I got killed, and since the checkpoints are a little bit wonky in this area, you saw me pick up the brick again. So I had to do some fancy editing. But if you're quick to get out of there, she will lose track of you. She will just stay in that store. Which is very kind of her. And the good thing about going into this little cafe is that in here there is also a safe. And what have we learned about safes at this point? Yes, they are filled with good stuff. So before we leave this little area, just gonna pick this. And the code is 689689, I think it said. Feel free to pause the video. There are some pills and a roll of tape. And tape and scissors are used for doing shivs, if you're gonna do those. As I said, I haven't used a single shiv in this entire playthrough. Or during the recording of this walkthrough. And when you feel that you're satisfied, just run down this little alleyway and jump over these concrete things. And none of the enemies will follow you in here. And now we're just gonna pick up the first of 2 holsters. And the holster can be found in the building over to my left. I was just checking here to see if I could find anything nice before we head in there. So, and of course, I looted through this entire area. There is a military truck you can open up, which I think holds some good stuff. I just trimmed that out to shorten the video. And in here is the holster. So make sure to pick that up. For me, it's a small holster. I don't know if it works the same for Abby as it does for Ellie. That which holster you get is a little bit random. But that is the end of part 1 of day 1 in Seattle, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.